Very good morning to all of you. Dear students, today we learn a new poem. The name of the poem is My Last Duchess, that is written by Robert Browning. Robert Browning is one of the most finest poets of Victorian age. He was an optimistic poet. Browning is known for his collection of poetry that are dramatic romance and lyrics 1845, men and women 1855, dramatic persona. He also wrote a tragedy. Some other works are Sordello, Fra Lippo Lippi, Rabbi Ben Ezra, etc. He is known for his mastery of dramatic monologue. The present poem, My Last Duchess, is also a dramatic monologue. Before we study this poem, it is very important to know what is the meaning of the dramatic monologue is. Dramatic monologue is a poem in which there is a single speaker, but who is not the poet. He utters the speech which make up the whole of the poem. The speaker utters the speech which make up whole of the poem in a specific situation, and the audience will remain silent. In this poem, My Last Duchess, there is a duke whose name is Alfonso. The setup of the poem is the Italian Renaissance. The Italian Renaissance duke, whose name is Alfonso, is addressing the envoy of a prospective father-in-law, and the Alfonso, the duke, confesses everything, even the murder of his wife. Throughout the poem, we will find that through the character of the duke, we will be able to understand the reaction of the audience too. The audience will remain silent. The duke here describe about his last duchess, but indirectly the poet uses irony, and we will be able to understand the duke's behavior, what kind of behavior the duke has. The duke is showing the messenger the picture of his dead wife. The picture has been painted on the wall. Look at the text. That's my last duchess painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call that piece a wonder now. Fra Pandolf's hand work busily a day. There she stands. Will not please you sit and look at her. The duke is talking to the envoy, and the duke says that that's my last duchess. That is the picture of my last duchess that is painted on the wall, and she is looking as if she were alive. The piece of wonder, that piece a wonder. It is a beautiful piece of art now, and it is made by Fra Pandolf, a known Italian painter, a very famous Italian painter. Fra Pandolf worked busily a day. He worked a whole day and made this painting, and there she stands. And he again says to the messenger, the envoy, it will not please you. First of all, you have to sit and look at her. I said, Fra Pandolf by design for never read. He again focused on that it is designed by Fra Pandolf. In this line, we will understand that the duke is not focusing on the beauty of his wife, but he is focusing on the design of the painting that is designed by Fra Pandolf. Strangers like you, that picture countenances the depth and passion of its earnest glance, but to myself they turned, since none put by the curtain I have drawn for you, but I, and seem as they would ask me if they durst, how such a glance came there, so not the first. Are you to turn and ask thus? Sir, it was not her husband's presence only called that sport of joy into the Duchess's cheeks. Perhaps Farah Pandolf's chanced to say. In these lines, the Duke says that she has a glow on her face, and strangers like you will not be able to appreciate. Strangers like you will not be able to understand how such glance, how such glow is there. I have drawn curtain for you. The Duke draw the curtain for the messenger, and the Duke thinks that the envoy will the envoy seems to ask me question, but he did not dare to ask how such a glow is there. And Duke says that you are not the first. Strangers like you, they always think about that. But he again says that it was not her presence only called that sport of joy into the Duchess's cheeks. Perhaps Farah Pandolf's chance to say. In this line, the Duke says Farah Pandolf may chance to say something to the Duchess. That's why there is such glance on her face, such glow is on her face. Her mental lap over my lady's wrist too much or paint must never hope to reproduce the faint half flush that dies along her throat. Such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that sport of joy. She had a heart, how shall I say, too soon mad glad. In this line, the Duke says that perhaps the painter had said a flattering word to her. He might have said that she would bear her wrist a little, or that no painter could paint the red flush of her face. She blushed to hear such a praise of her beauty, and the Duke indirectly tells us that she was very simple hearted. She became glad very soon. She was easily impressed. She liked whatever she. A heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad. She had a heart that she was easily impressed. She liked whatever she saw. Her looks went everywhere. Too easily impressed, she liked whatever she looked on. Her looks went everywhere. Sir, it was all one, my favor at her breast, the dropping of the daylight in the west, the bow of cherries some officious fool broke in the orchard for her, the white mule she rode with round the terrace. All and each would draw from her alike the proving speech. In this line, Duke says that she became impressed very easily. She liked whatever she see, and her looks went everywhere. And also he says that he will like the sunset. He also like when someone brought her bow of cherries from the garden. She also enjoy the ride of the horse around the terrace. All such things make her happy. That was not the acceptable to the Duke, because Duke says that she has a name of 900-year-old name. The Duke of she is the Duchess of the Ferrara. She should not like such things. The Duke says that his wife had silly habits. She likes a cherry brought, a branch of cherry brought by some ordinary person. And even she also liked the costly necklace that the Duke gave to her. Such kind of behavior she had. Again, the Duke says that she thanked men good, but thanked somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of a 900-year-old name with anybody's gift. In these lines, the Duke explains that she thanks everyone. It is a good thing to thank men, but she should not thank in a manner. She is ranked. She is the Duchess of the Ferrara. My gift of a 900-year-old name with anybody's gift. She should not appreciate others' gift. She should not compare my gift with others' gift, because my gift has a name of 900-year-old name, and they belong to Ferrara. And the Duchess took no pride in the name of Duke's family. The Duke's family had a name, but the gift of Duke was the same value to her as anybody else's gift. The Duke did not like all these habits of his wife. Indirectly, the poet made us realize that Duke has a behavior. He is jealous of his wife, and he is also cruel. He did not like the simple behavior of his wife. If he wanted, he could improve her. If he wanted, he could improve her. The Duchess was a gentle lady. She would have easily followed the Duke's advice. She would have amended herself. But the Duke is so proud that he considered giving advice is below to his dignity. He thinks that it would mean lowering himself. And these lines tells that the proud character of the Duke and the simple behavior of his wife, and if she let herself be lessoned so, nor plainly set her wits to yours forsooth, and made excuse, even then would be some stopping, and I choose never to stop. Oh, sir, she smiled, no doubt, whenever I passed her, but who passed without much the same smile? This grew, I gave commands, then all the smiles stopped together. There she stand as if alive, will not please you, rise, we will meet. In this line, the Duke says that she used to give him her smile whenever he passed by her, but her smile was not reserved to him. She gave it to others too. This rose a kind of jealousy and envy in Duke's behavior. He engaged person to killers. Her smile stopped together, stopped forever. And these lines describes that he gave orders and some persons killed her. In the last stanza, the Duke talks to the envoy about the count And he says that the count is well known for his magnificence, for his large heartedness. Naturally, he will not turn down the Duke's demand for a dowry. The Duke, however, tries to assure the messenger that he is going to marry the Count's daughter for her beauty and her qualities. Dowry is not his aim, but dowry is equally necessary. Thus, this poem is a very good dramatic monologue in which the poet is successfully able to tell us about the Duke's behavior. The Duke is describing the behavior of his last duchess and is talking to the messenger, the envoy, but indirectly the poet reveals the behavior of the Duke himself. He was a person with cruelness and he is jealous of his wife. He never describes the beauty of his wife, but he always talks about the design of Farah Pandolf. Furthermore, he suspects her that she might have relationship with others. That's why he commands to murder her and her all smiles stop together. We will discuss in the later class about the question answers and the difficult words. So dear students, if you have any difficulty, then raise your hands and we will discuss it. Okay, thank you.